Alec writes in, what are some of your favorite video games based on movies? Alec then lists off Jedi Survivor, Stranglehold, Alien Isolation, and Riddick as
Riddick's
examples.
a good
Good,
poll.
good. Riddick's good.
It's an old. That's back when movies based or video games based on movies weren't good, and that one came out and like was actually good.
And people were like, Vin Diesel, like this is a triumph, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know that Alec's definition of video games based on movies is really very stringent. Like Stranglehold is kind of a gray area because that is, I think, a continuation of the story in John Woo's Hard Boiled, which, by the way, one of the best action movies of all time, also incredible video game that people don't talk enough about.
It's a fine video game.
I loved all those Max Payne Stranglehold things.
Yeah, no, like Max Payne's. You don't get to just throw them into the same, like completely different franchise. I loved Skyrim and Stranglehold and what?
They're both movies where you know what a detective goes on a killing spree with bullet time.
Yes, Max Payne good. Stranglehold fine, not great. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
How dare you, Jeff? How dare you?
Also, the only way to get that hard-boiled Blu-ray for a while, right? Was by buying.
That's right. They had a weird tie-in, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, not weird. It's more that hard-boiled Blu-ray was completely unavailable otherwise, unless you got it through the Stranglehold thing.
It's Sony Logic, I believe. Yeah.
So there's actually, like Spider-Man on PS5, incredible game. Is it based on a movie? I don't think so.
Jedi Survivor is a weird one. That's just based on the property of Star Wars.
Very good game, though.
One I will pull that probably nobody has ever played, but I was a big fan of Hook when I was a kid, the Steven Spielberg movie, and there was a Super Nintendo Hook game that I played endlessly, forever. It had a really good soundtrack. It was developed by Sony, of course, and it had a great soundtrack and like great gameplay too, and great art. It was like anime style art of Hook. If anybody else played that game, just let me know. You can find YouTube playthroughs and stuff. Just hearing that music kind of brings me back to it. So I loved Hook. It was great to play in Hook. Also, there was a Little Nemo game on the NES that was freaking fantastic.
Finding Nemo?
No, not Finding Nemo. Little Nemo.
Oh, yeah.
This is before Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Pixar went back in time and made an NES game.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Little Nemo, the Dream Master. It's good stuff.
Wow.
I was listening with great interest to Jeff Kanata's most recent DLC podcast, where Ash Parrish was talking about how she had contributed to like GQ's top 100 video games of all time, but because most older people don't stay in video games for very long or are dead, they couldn't really contribute to the list.
Clock's ticking, Jeff.
It's harsh.
And so it's like, as a result, I think like a lot of older video games didn't make the list. Like Pac-Man didn't make the list and all this stuff like that. Like didn't make this list of greatest video games, which I thought was like kind of an interesting perspective on like every one of these 100 like top lists is a function of who is available to help contribute to the list.
Yes.
But one of the ones that was on there was GoldenEye. And that's arguably one of the greatest, most influential video games based off of.
At the time, it was
movies.
very good.
Yeah.
If you didn't play PC games, GoldenEye was a revelation.
That's right.
If you did play PC games, and you're like, what are these console idiots doing?
I spent so many hours playing that, split screen with my friends.
Split screen,
The frame rate was complete garbage. It was probably like 12 frames per second, but it was an amazing, amazing video game based off of movie.
Good times.
It's interesting how you define that, because I think you started off saying, well, Jedi Survivor isn't one, which I kind of agree, right? It's based on the property that started as a film.
It's like to make it most interesting. Like let's limit the consideration set, right? And if we limit the set,
but like it's I think Devindra was bringing up games. There was a period in the 90s in the sort of SNES era, where you would get a video game and it literally its job was to tell you the story of the movie.
Do it again
in an interactive way.
Yeah.
It's like, what if the movie, but it was a platformer too?
The Empire Strikes Back SNES game. That one counts.
I remember Batman, the NES game based on the Tim Burton.
I do remember
movie
that
was a great time.
But there's a bunch of Disney ones. The Lion King, Aladdin. Those are all really good games.
Fantastic games.
Amazing games.
At least when we were kids. I have no idea. They might be garbage today, but like
no, the Genesis version of a lot of them. Then there was the differences between the NES, the Super Nintendo, and the Genesis versions. I remember all this. It was all good.
It's not really how. It's not really how it's done anymore. Like there's no video game based on a movie is more like the Jedi Survivor, where like
there was one, Jeff, that you may be forgetting.
What's that?
Based on your favorite franchise.
Oh, Avatar?
There was an Avatar game.
I played it. It wasn't bad. And they're doing another one. Ubisoft keeps delaying it, but
that was probably the last big movie game.
Well, Harry Potter just came out.
Avatar the game. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy, although that's not based on a specific movie, but yeah.
But it's very much based on the movies rather than the books. Like it's very much like it evokes the movies.
The look of the aesthetics and everything. Yeah, that makes sense. Avatar the game came out in 2009 for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So.
I played through that whole thing, man. It wasn't great, but it was about Stranglehold level of quality.
How freaking dare you, Jeff?
I'm gonna Stranglehold you.
Yeah, I'm gonna Stranglehold you because of what you're saying. So, Jeff, I know you talk about this all the time, but I'm curious: are there any ones that come to mind as like some of your favorites of all time, or that hold a special place in your heart?
Some of the ones that do it best now, in a odd sort of way, are the Lego games. That'll do like the Lego Star Wars collection that came out last year is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
The Skywalker saga,
all 9 movies. You play, it does jokes, it does inside references, but you're playing through the plot of those movies.
They're funny.
Legoized, but it's super great. They're great. I have another one that is woefully underrated. That is actually a very, very good game. It came out in 2015. Avalanche Studios made a Mad Max game.
Yeah. I have that.
So good. It's so good. Nobody talks about it. It didn't sell well at the time, but it's a big open world game where you're driving around in a car and smashing stuff, and you have the grappling hook, and you can shoot out of your car and grapple other cars, and you're breaking stuff, and it's really well done.
It came out just as we were getting sick of open world games, I think. So that was kind of it. But that was a good game.
That was a clip from the Filmcast After Dark. To get access to the whole episode, go to patreon.com/filmpodcast. You can sign up for ad-free episodes as well as exclusive After Darks. You can find the regular podcast at thefilmcast.com. And of course, like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching.